This is a familiar scene in America these days. Arson is our fastest growing crime, affecting the lives and property of millions of people. No city is immune. This is the Bronx in New York. 1.5 million people live in this borough, equal to the population of Houston or Washington or San Diego. It's the home of the New York Yankees, the Bronx Zoo, and the Grand Concourse. It has also become the arson capital of the world. Once that smoke on the horizon signified industry, progress, jobs. Now it means someone is burning down a building, a landlord for profit, a tenant for revenge, junkies, vandals. It happens 30 times a day, and the flames are the signal of a national disaster. In the next hour, we'll see what fire is doing to the Bronx and its people. It's a report from one place in one city, but the forces at work here are no longer unique to the Bronx. The fire here is the fire next door.
The fire next door. CBS reports with Bill Moyers.
Battalion 19 of Bronx K. Box 2963, we're going to use 2 and 2. We have fire on the 5th floor in apartment 5I. The address is 1635 Poppin Avenue. It's a 6-story brick, non-fireproof, multiple dwelling occupied. Occupants are being removed where necessary.
Get some more line up there, guys. It's over the floor up there. He's lining up there. He's coming up onto the floor. Yeah, I got it clear. Thank you. Get up there. Get the can. I got a closet in there. Check it in. He's got it. Hey, Gene, can tell him. Yeah. Make sure they got the roof. They got the whole floor. Right there, anyway. Yeah. All right, they got the wall. Where's that water? I got it right here. Hey, give it a shot. Come over here. Come on down here.
Our story begins in an apartment on Popham Avenue, a single building, 80 families. But the alarm is for all of us. You were 15 years in the Bronx before you came to this city, right? 22 years. 22 years in the Bronx. Is this the way the Bronx started?
I would say so. It starts with fires in the vacant apartments. Before you know it, the whole wing in the building.
Then what happens? People move out?
People move out. The landlord starts to cut back on his maintenance. We're not making the profit. More and more apartments become vacant. And it becomes less profitable for the landlord. And before you know, you have a block with no one living there. It becomes a wasteland like the South Bronx.
The South Bronx. It has all the superlatives. Highest crime, poorest people, greatest unemployment, worst blight, and the world's record for arson. In just 10 years, more than 30,000 buildings have been set ablaze and abandoned here. Many of them good, solid apartment houses built to last hundreds of years. These were the homes of New York's working people, the Germans, Irish, Jews, and Italians who paused here on their way to the suburbs and to the American promise fulfilled. Then came the poverty migration. Huge numbers of blacks and Puerto Ricans arrived as business, industry, and the middle class left. Jobs were fewer and fewer. Welfare replaced work, and the poor were trapped with nowhere to go. Higher costs, lower profits, and the peculiar chemistry of poverty caused landlords to flee their buildings. The result? A fierce, malignant urban cancer where the arsonist performs the final rite.
If you were assigned to Vietnam in 1970, what would be the challenge that you face? It would be to communicate to the American people the fact that our nation is involved in a great moral struggle, in a great moral dilemma. And what you're really saying is, America, take a look at it. For heaven's sakes, look what you're doing to yourself. Look look at the moral dimensions of the struggle, and if that is the way you choose to go, at least acknowledge it.
Chief Tony Boza, Bronx Borough Commander until his maverick views cost him his job. In Harlem during the 60s, his leadership helped prevent urban rioting. Sensitive to the people of the neighborhoods, he is still a tough cop.
Strangely enough, in the 60s, this society became a little bit visible, started to riot a little bit, disorders, started to hook middle-class youngsters on heroin, and boy, there was a hell to pay then, and methadone became suddenly available, funds, the law enforcement administration was created, we were showered with goodies, and now we are a very efficient army of occupation, and the problem is invisible, and everybody's back to business as usual, and it's wonderful for everybody. We are creating here what the Romans did in Rome. We are creating a permanent underclass of unemployed and desperate people. They're kind of invisible. You don't see them because they drop out of, they stop looking for jobs. They drop out of everything but the welfare rolls. They drink and they try to escape the reality of their daily experience. And of course, and here we live with them. But they're all dressed up and no place to go, and the society has no place for it. But now everything is being done by machines, and the second industrial revolution has sort of replaced unskilled human labor. And that's the only leg they can get up on the ladder. So they're really in trouble. And if these people weren't permanently pacified on alcohol, they'd be a lot more visible. If it weren't for the ready availability of alcohol, we'd all be in trouble. So what I would say is, America, take a look around. Look what you're doing in your ghettos. You're creating a permanent underclass of disaffected and poor, drugged on alcohol, on welfare, living in bombed-out situations, an educational system that doesn't educate, a bureaucracy that doesn't respond, the sanitation doesn't clean, the police don't police. We're all here, we're all very visible, and I suppose some of us are working reasonably hard, but the fact of the matter is we're all failing, and we're just a holding operation. Look around you.
Look around, and on any day you will see a major fire set by an arsonist. There is one every hour. Bronx firemen are the busiest and best in the world, but it's a losing battle. Burning buildings are as common here as broken dreams.
5. Increase the pressure for the multi-volt converter by 10 pounds, okay?
You want the pressure increased, correct?
That's affirmative.
And 4.
I remember as a kid, the fires that came down the block, everyone was excited and everyone ran to see the fire. Now you have, 4 or 5 floors of blazing fire, and people will walk by and just glance and keep going, it's amazing, At one time it was such an exciting thing, now it's becoming like very commonplace.
The South Bronx is a society out of control. Kids start a lot of the fires. They burn vacant buildings for the hell of it. A 9-year-old told me, "If you don't take my picture, I'll burn the building down." He meant it. A 19-year-old woman lived here with her parents and sisters. When she and her boyfriend broke up, she refused to see him again. At 4:30 in the morning, he poured gasoline under her door and struck a match. The building has been burned 11 times since. 80 families lived here. A couple who owned a candy store put their life savings into their building as a retirement investment. A rent control law left over from World War II kept a ceiling on rents, while fuel and maintenance costs soared. Losing money, they let the building decline. As tenants moved out, junkies moved in, using the abandoned apartments for shooting galleries. Parents, fearful for their children, complained. The junkies retaliated with fire. A woman and her 6 children lived here. $300 a month for 6 rooms with rats, roaches, leaky plumbing, and junkies urinating in the hall. She wanted to move to a public housing project, but a sign in her welfare office declared she would have a very long wait unless she were the victim of a fire. burnouts get first preference. At 2 a.m., she moved her possessions to a friend's place, leaving some junk furniture behind in the apartment. Her nephew set the fire. She and her children received a little over $2,000 for new clothing and furniture and were moved to a new apartment at public expense. Arson is now a way of doing business in the South Bronx, encouraged and made profitable by well-intentioned public law. It's both bewildering and frustrating to the city's arson detectives.
I get a place to go, do you mean?
Yeah, like, you know, if you're on welfare down here, they find you somewhere else to go. Just move.
You gotta burn before you move, though.
Yeah, that way you get money for your furniture until you burn it down.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's how it works down here.
You think many people do that?
Few.
You can buy a large occupied apartment house in the Bronx for less than $1,000. By taking advantage of the city's 3-year tax moratorium, you can collect several thousand a month while paying no taxes, provide heat and services infrequently and only under duress, no maintenance. A few promises will keep the rents coming in until the tenants give up in disgust. Then $200 will buy you a first-class arson job. Federally subsidized fire insurance is required by law. A quick settlement with few questions puts you ahead by $70,000 or $80,000.
She set the prime in the fire, but I'm a witness. I was home that day. Happened on a Tuesday.
Well, you didn't see her set the fire after.
She had to. How can you leave out your house in 2 minutes and come on the steps and go back in your house in 15 minutes and holler fire?
What, did you speak to her about that fire? Did you speak to her
You know
about
what she said? She
What?
told her husband, her boyfriend, whoever, when she come home, that the lady upstairs was looking out a window and a cigarette fell from her house into her apartment and started the fire.
Would you want to talk to us about this and testify about this, what you saw?
What I saw?
Yeah.
No.
You don't want to?
No, but I'm just saying what
Why not?
you're talking about. Because I don't know. I don't like to, put no people in trouble. This lady was definitely...
Well, put people in trouble. She banged you out of your
That's
apartment.
right. That's what I'm saying. You should see my apartment. I was like, yeah, this is right here.
Well, what if your kid was killed?
Just for, I would have, oh, honey, I would have really gone okay.
But just as long as your kid wasn't killed, you feel, what the heck do I get involved?
How much damage was done?
She claimed all her furniture was burned up.
But you had no furniture in your apartment.
She had a little bit she had in there. I mean, it was already raggedy or destroyed or whatever.
Again, I ask you, you don't want to make a complaint at this time about this.
I should have did it at the start.
Well, you can still do it.
Listen to me.
If someone knows information as to who caused the fire, it's rare that they'll come forward with the information. Their reasoning is that they're afraid, because if they're in the area, if they're going to remain in the area, it doesn't make sense to tell the police what you know, because if that person, even if he is arrested, chances are he'll be back.
Was garbage. Whoever lived there set fire to it, or somebody went in there and set fire to it before they left, because the girl that was living there moved out. That apartment, no, that apartment was like that. I was laying down with my daughter when they came and jumped the fire there. They shouldn't do shit like that. I burned up because she wants to set fire to that dumpy apartment. She should have paid me. If they don't do anything about it, I'm going to the precinct and I'm going to the police department, and I want them to know. Whoever lived there, I want them to know that I'm going. I want them to know that I'm going. If they don't care about the children, I care about mine. You understand? I care about mine.
What did you think the night you woke up and heard the sounds of fire next door?
I was terrified. I ran out of here. I didn't have on no clothes. I had on my nightgown. So I went to the second floor. I was so mad. If I would put my hands, on someone, I could have hurt, you know, because I figured I only been living here a year and a half. And it took me a lot to do all that I have. And then all of a sudden fire breaks on, I lose everything I have to start all over again.
And you were mad because you thought somebody had started it?
Yeah. That's right.
When I say the word fire, what do you think of?
Disaster. It's the truth. Because when there's a fire, you lose everything. If it's in your house, there's very little you could say. The firemen don't give you that much of a chance. Once something's burning, they're not going to let you go in there and risk your life. What they try to do is get you out and make sure you're safe. I know you think about what you got and trying to save it, but they'd rather save you. So, I don't want to lose what I have.
At the time of the fire, you were being arrested, you said.
Yeah.
What time was that?
What time was the fire? What time? 9 o'clock or something?
8:30 or so.
Yeah. There was a bunch.
How old are the kids that was in the apartment? How old
There was one that was around 6 months, right?
No, about 10 months.
And
what was the other one?
And
That was about 4 or 5 years old.
4 or 5 years old?
Yeah.
And my two kids
No,
were with
this is
my
only
sister.
3 years old.
She's 3 years old.
3 years old.
Yeah.
They live by themselves?
That was my girlfriend's kid.
And your girlfriend was here also?
No, she was out.
So the 2 kids were by themselves?
Yeah.
Not really.
Unfortunately, what's going to happen here is something that happens throughout the South Bronx. People have a lack of respect for other people's property. And since nobody lives in this apartment, nobody's going to realize or stop to think that this still is somebody else's property. So it's open, it's a free game now. The radiators will go. They'll walk in, they'll just take the radiators because nobody lives here.
Arson detectives Jim McLaughlin and Ed Murphy.
The fire was Thursday night. Why don't you take a look at his. The fire was Thursday night, and already the sink is going. The sink is already missing. The commode will be taken. These pipes here, fixtures off the bathtub there.
They'll even take out the bathtub if they have.
They'll even take out the bathtub if they have enough time. Then, of course, the radiator in this room here, this will go. And the place that they seem to work the most are 2 places, are the bathrooms and the kitchens. You'll see here, all this will go. They'll pull that sink out, they'll break the pipes behind the sink, and then this will start the water. If somebody wants to steal a stove, they'll just pull it out, the gas will still be going. They can come around at night, and they know what they're doing, and they can work very fast, And they won't make that much noise either. They're in and out, and they're gone, man.
I give this building a good 2 or 3 months, and it'll be vacant. You come back here in December. Probably before December, it'll be gone. It'll be vacant.
Mrs. Torres's building is not a slum tenement, but a comfortable apartment house in a healthy Bronx neighborhood. The fire is the first step toward a process of destruction that has leveled thousands of nearby acres. These buildings could be next. Davidson Avenue in the West Bronx. For years, it was a desirable community of middle-class families. While the South Bronx was dying, this was a good place to live. But decay spread quickly through here. Fire engines have come again and again. Well-constructed buildings are now abandoned and bricked up in a feeble effort to discourage vandalism. For all their drama, fires are not the story. Arson is a symptom of a far deeper condition that persists here after the firemen have left. Society has collapsed. There remains an almost primitive system offering little protection, little safety.
When I moved over here as little as 2.5 years ago, it was quite a beautiful place and serene, so I thought, until nightfall.
You live alone?
Yes. With my dogs.
With your dog?
3 now. I had 5. 3 were thrown off the roof.
Thrown off the roof?
6. Yeah.
By who?
Some pathetic little boys.
Through your dog?
Oh, 5 flights just killed them.
Why don't you move?
There's people that don't want to accept me with 3 dogs. So rather than give them up, they're my friends. I stayed in that abandoned building, terrified.
You stay in that abandoned building?
Alone.
Do you have heat?
No heat, no hot water, no electricity, no facilities.
Well, how do you live, Miss Scott?
Well, I have friends across the street, too, as a matter of fact. And I go over there and cook and bring the food home. Originally, I had a hot plate, and I could heat the food when it was cold, but now I don't have that, so mostly I eat out of restaurants. And I go over to my friend's house to take a bath. One has to be social.
That's right.
His grandmother said it's not important how you look, it's how you smell.
Aren't you frightened to death of living there by yourself?
Yes, I am.
So you've been on this street 2 years and you've seen fire literally destroy apartment after apartment.
Yes. Well, this is my castle, all by myself.
Do you pay any rent?
No, I don't. I was squatter.
A squatter?
Yes, sir.
Across the street in 1995 Davidson Avenue, several families are trying to hold their lives together in a building which, while occupied, barely clings to life. Fires, vandalism, and the lack of services have forced most people to leave. A few struggle to stay in apartments whose parquet floors and keen workmanship recall better days. Ms. Barker, the first thing I noticed when I came into your apartment is that your furniture's not unpacked. Why?
Oh my goodness, well see, from the bed that I had before, when I had took it up to get this in the house, I saw mice droppings all up underneath it. So I said, I'm not about, to let out my other bed and the mice be running all through that because it's brand new, so I'll just leave it packaged. And as you can see, if you look around, most of my stuff is packed. So as soon as I get the place, I'm just going to move it.
How long have you lived here?
About, let's see, I moved in April. I guess the following year, that's when the fire was in that building and burnt it out completely.
Are you afraid of this building burning?
Yes. I feel it's definitely a fire hazard.
Can you show me the apartment?
Yes.
Well, how many rooms are there?
Well, I have 3 rooms. This, I guess you can say, is the living room. In the bathroom, as you can see, half of the ceiling is missing.
Do you ever have any trouble getting water?
Right, I have no cold water now, so the toilet doesn't flush.
And this is the bedroom.
Right. This is basically where we hang out at.
You do live in a kind of battle zone.
Yeah.
Fire zone.
That's why I just be cool, don't deal with too many people. Just go on about my business and do what I gotta do. Because I'm not here to be socializing with too many people anyway. And then the type of people who live around here anyway. Like, they're part of the reason why it's like this. Like a lot of people always want to blame it on the landlord, this, that, and the other. There's part of his fault too, but then also, why do you have to throw garbage out the window? I can look out my window any day and see big bags going down the stairs, out the window. So it's the people too, it's the people who basically make it like this. And then with the landlord not keeping it up, it just gets worse and worse. Me and my sister was just talking about the garbage the other day. She was teasing me. She said, you better hurry up and get out of here before the garbage is piled up to the 3rd floor. And then me and the woman upstairs was laughing. She was saying, yeah, we got to get out of here because after a while, the garbage will be so high, the rats won't have to go through the building to get into the apartment. They'll just step right over the garbage.
Finding out who's responsible can be difficult. The last owner sold out when their efforts to renovate and maintain the building failed. It has changed hands 6 times in 9 years. No one is sure now who owns it. Landlords refused to provide services until tenants paid rent. Tenants refused to pay rent until owners provided services. People are moving out. The building is doomed. For survivors, life in a dying building can be an overwhelming experience.